The silence is the first thing you notice. Usually, by this time of the day, half the women in town are gathered around the well, collecting water and spreading gossip. However, today it's completely deserted. That's not quite correct, though. It's almost deserted. Someone is there drinking water. A man you don't recognize, and he looks rough and unkempt, like someone who's been wandering the wilderness for a while. You stand there for a moment, transfixed, watching the stranger until you feel a sharp tug on your sleeve and your aunt drags you back toward her house. Water, you begin, but she cuts you off before you can finish asking why you've been unceremoniously towed into her home. What in the world has gotten into you? Do you have any idea who that was? Do you not see the mark he bears? The mark? What is she talking about? But before you can voice your confusion, she continues. Did my sister teach her daughter nothing? Openly staring at Cain, of all people. Time freezes. Cain, the Cain. Is she seriously telling you that the stranger at your town's well is the son of Adam and Eve? There's no way you caught a glimpse of someone who supposedly lived hundreds of years ago. Right? I'm Bree.
And I'm Christiana.
Prepare to travel back in time.
Because you're about to hear something strange.
Welcome to episode 40, The Mark of Cain. Okay, so let's get into some trigger warnings here because there are a variety.
A variety of them.
So if any of these are things that you're sensitive to, feel free to skip to whatever the next one is. Murder, mentions of drinking blood, potential incest, and possible sexual assault. It's
cool.
I told you there's a
cool.
I'm going to go through my sources and then I'm going to ask you the question of what you happen to know about this topic.
Okay.
So we're a little wiki heavy on this one. Wikipedia article, The Curse and Mark of Cain. The symbolic world. This is not Wikipedia. This is not Mark. This is not Wikipedia. The symbolic word, the Mark of Cain. Legends of history. Is Cain still wandering the earth? Another legends of history. The story of Cain and Abel. Cain and Abel, scriptures and edited by D.L. Ashleman. Wikipedia, Enoch, son of Cain. And Wikipedia, Cain. Okie dokie. So before we get too far into this, what do you know about the Mark of Cain and the story of Cain and Abel?
I know Cain and Abel were Abraham's children? No. Nope.
Adam.
Okay. Adam's children.
You're a couple generations forward.
Do watch Hasbin Hotel, friends. Blake Roman, come on the podcast. Anyway, okay, so they are Adam's sons. Cain murdered Abel. I don't remember why, but he became like essentially the first sinner, I guess, with that.
Unless technically Adam and Eve would have been the first humans to sin. He became
true,
the first murderer with that.
Became the first murderer. Okay.
And Abel became the first victim of murder.
Yes. Abel is Patrick Stump.
Yes. My boy.
My boy. I don't know anything about the Mark of Cain, though.
Patrick Stump from Fall Out Boy. We're not just getting excited over random people. He's not actually my boy.
Sad
face. So a quick disclaimer here. When I'm talking about scripture, for the most part, I am going to be mainly focusing on Christian and Jewish versions of the text, as they tend to be a little bit better known, and most of my sources are referred to them.
Okay.
But I will throw in some other points of view later on. I'm going to just give us a little bit of an overview about what we're going to be talking about. Think of it as like, not an agenda, but like just an overview.
Okay.
And we are dusting off my religious studies degree. So for those of you that might be newer listeners, I actually have a religious studies degree, so I get very excited when I can talk about things that relate to anthropology and ethics and like biblical or religious history type things. Not a theology degree, but more focused on anthropology and ethics. And I get very excited when I get to talk about any religion from an academic viewpoint.
Oh, yes.
So according to scripture, let's jump in here. Cain is the eldest son of Adam and Eve. You might know them as the first people. He was also the first murderer, and he was cursed to become a wanderer and bear a mark that protected him from harm by cursing harm to anyone who harmed him.
Oh.
Let's jump in. We have a lot of ground to cover, and we are going back to the beginning pretty much almost biblically. So, the story of Cain and Abel, along with the Mark of Cain, can be found in the book of Genesis, which is the first book of the Christian Old Testament. So that's like pre-Jesus. Mm-hmm. And the Jewish Torah, it's in the first 5 books of the Torah, which would be the books of Moses. They were said to have been written by Moses. I'm sorry, people, but he probably didn't write those 5 books. So let's talk about Cain's family for a second, because they're all going to become major players in this tale. Supposedly the first family, and it would be Adam, Eve, Cain, Abel, and we're also going to talk about God because he's kind of important in this too.
Oh, why is that? No, sorry.
Who is this God you speak of?
Who is that? What?
I'm going to put you on the spot. Can you give us a brief recap of what you remember about Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden? So set us up for the fall of humanity, if you will.
So Adam and Eve were, I guess, depending on what text you read, were the first in the garden. Eve was made of Adam's rib and was his wife. And they were told, you can basically do anything you want in this garden except for eat from that one specific tree. It's known as an apple tree oftentimes, but that is not necessarily true. It was the pumpkin of knowledge.
If you've learned anything, it's that I get really caught up on incorrect things in religion. So it's like, it's not an apple.
Yes.
It was a pumpkin of wisdom. It was most likely probably a pomegranate,
or a fig. That's right. I get the pomegranate and I can never remember the second one. But
or a date.
Oh, or a date. Yeah, that's true.
One of those well-known ones.
Supposedly it was Eve who was tempted by a serpent. Again, this is one of those things where oftentimes the serpent is said to have been Satan, but that's not actually, again, necessarily true. That is not what is written in the scripture itself. It was just, I think, just the serpent.
Yeah, wily or crafty was the translation. But yeah, just a serpent.
Right. So she ate the apple and then was like, hey, this is, or well, not the apple. She ate the pumpkin of knowledge and then said, hey, this is delicious, and handed it to Adam. And then he also took a bite out of the pumpkin of knowledge, and God got real angry because he's like, I gave you one job, and that was to not eat from that tree. And they both got kicked out of the garden. And that was the introduction of sin into the world, I guess, wasn't it?
Yeah, the fall of humanity.
Yeah.
That is a really, really great synopsis. If you want to hear more, we pulled over a bonus episode a couple of months ago from our first podcast that is all about that. And we also did an episode on Lilith, who was questionably the first woman, but that's a whole thing. So go check out that episode.
Is Lilith on this? Did we do that one here as well, or is that on it? We did. Okay, I couldn't remember if we pulled that one as well as Adam and Eve.
No, Lilith was one of my episodes from over the summer, I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
but the Garden of Eden was a pullover from
our first podcast.
Yes. We know about Adam and Eve now, the parents. Let's get into the kiddos.
The parents.
We're the first sons of Adam and Eve. There were other sons later on, but we're not going to talk about them right now because this is going to be a long enough episode. Cain was the eldest and first, and I quote, humanly conceived human being, according to text.
I'm not going to say anything.
So Adam knew Eve in the biblical sense, and then she bore him a son and said, I have gotten a man from the Lord. Did you read what I wrote out?
Oh, yeah, that's annoying when that happens.
I hate it when the Lord gives me men instead of hedgehogs. I have a new hedgehog up there.
I saw him. He's very cute. Is he just a stuffy, or is he?
My friend made him. He's just a stuffy.
He's precious.
Was Cain actually the son of Adam? According to the main and most popular traditions, yes. But there are some traditions that say otherwise, and we will get into that later, so put a pin in that.
Okie dokie.
Sorry, this next line makes me think of the song Skater Boy. Cain was a farmer, Abel was a shepherd.
I'm dead.
He was a boy. She was a girl.
He was a farmer. He was a shepherd. I don't know the next lyrics to the song.
They're doing their farming and their shepherd things, whatever that looks like. Yeah. And Adam and Eve somehow got word from God that they would have to give their best offerings to God. And so Abel, our boy Patrick Stump, because I can't see him as anything else.
Yes. Watch Hazbin Hotel if you're over 18.
Yes. chooses one of his newly born lambs, which is kind of sad.
It is.
And Cain learned of this and was like, why is Abel sacrificing something so important? So he's just like, I'm going to give him some extra straw or something.
I mean, as horse people, I'll say, I mean, for hay.
Oh my goodness. Good hay is worth more than a newborn lamb. I'm sorry.
Yes. Yeah, I'm going to say it. Absolutely.
So the moral of that is he should have just done like, is first cutting or second cutting better?
Second, I think.
Yeah, he should have sacrificed the second cutting of hay.
Correct.
They both placed their offerings in the fire because apparently God is a little bit of a pyromaniac.
Just burned ew. Sorry.
The lamb was already dead.
Well, no, I know, but just like, ugh.
Can you imagine the straw just gonna
Whoosh.
The fire roared bigger for Abel, which meant that God found Abel's sacrifice more pleasing and showed him favor. So the gist here is that Cain did not put aside his best for the sacrifice, and this was not something God found pleasing. This filled Cain with all types of big emotions and angry thoughts because his younger brother, was being shown favor by God.
Yeah.
So what did he do? He led his brother out into the field and committed the first murder by striking and killing him, possibly with a rock.
Ooh.
My question is, do you think he knew it would kill him? Like, part of me is like, okay, well, like Abel obviously knows that you can kill sheep.
Sure.
But like, did Cain know that particular act would kill his brother?
Or yeah, that leads into a whole question of like, was that actually premeditated, or was it a complete like they just went out into the field together, and Abel could have been acting a fool and been like, no, he liked my sacrifice better.
I like how we decided Cain is the hero.
Cain is innocent. We've just become the lawyers for Cain.
Oh my God.
I'm not saying like, and he might have just thrown a rock, been like, quit acting like an asshole, and just threw a rock at his brother and accidentally hit him in the temple and was like, oh no.
Shit.
Oh shit.
We have Cain becoming the first murderer and probably being like, oh shit.
Allegedly
Allegedly the first murderer. So God shows up. He's like, hey, Cain, where's your brother? And Cain was like, am I my brother's keeper?
Oh, did he actually?
Yeah, that's where that phrase comes from.
Oh, dang. Wow, you just got an attitude with your Lord and Savior.
Okay, here's the thing. Well, that's Jesus. That's not God.
Oh, true. Okay.
Jesus didn't happen yet. See the sequel for that. God is like not about this. He demands answers, even though he already knows what happens. Because remember, this version of God is omniscient, omniscient, and good. But there's the theodicy of the problem of evil, and we're not going to get into that, no matter how much I enjoy going down that rabbit hole. So God demands answers, and he already knows what happened, and could, and I quote, hear Abel's blood cry out from the ground.
Oh.
Cain relents and says what happened, and then he breaks down and cries. For some reason, the fact that he can hear the blood just makes it so much creepier.
That is. I just picture like a stain. Sorry, that sounds really kind of harsh, but like a stain, and it's just going.
I think what did he do with the body? He's like, oh crap, what do I do with this?
That's
Hide
true.
it behind a rock?
I feel like, I mean, it could have been premeditated, but I kind of low key feel like we're a little bit like getting more evidence for the fact that this was not a premeditated murder.
Well, you're not going to hide it from God.
That's true.
So if I remember correctly, God is not only upset that Cain killed Abel, but he's upset that he lied about it.
Fair.
I also feel like wasn't part of the reason God was so angry with Adam and Eve was because they lied about, like, I didn't, what apple? I didn't eat the pumpkin of wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
It was her fault. She told me to do it. It was a snake's fault. Because snakes can talk now.
Yeah. I feel like that's, I don't remember for certain, but it would make sense, especially considering he's like, they're essentially gaslighting God, right? Because he's like, I'm literally omnipotent. I know you did this. Stop freaking lying to me.
Oh, it's like how moms tend to know things like that.
Oh, God, yeah.
All right, so where does this Mark come in? Because we've been chattering about being Cain's lawyers for the past 10 minutes. The alleged crime. Well, hold on to your hats. We are almost there. The next part comes from Genesis, chapter 4, verses 11 through 16. I'm not reading it verbatim, don't worry. God then punishes Cain by making it so the ground he works would never yield a crop.
Ooh.
Maybe a metaphor, maybe not. And condemns him to be a restless wanderer of the earth. Cain didn't think this was fair and worried he would not be safe from others. So God placed a mark on him as a warning to others to leave him alone. So there's some debate on if this mark is physical or symbolic, and it brings up one of the many holes in the narrative of the Bible. Because according to scripture, at this point, the only people were Adam, Eve, and their children.
True.
Who are these other people?
I mean, I guess he could think maybe his parents would go after him.
Well, but he's being sent out to wander.
Oh, true. Yeah.
So it's like, it's the aliens.
It's aliens.
It's the Fae.
Cain said aliens.
It's the Fae.
It's the Fae.
It might also be implied that it's not only that Cain was cursed, but the ground was cursed because of the spilling of Abel's blood, like where the blood touched the ground, that supposedly that land would never produce
Crop
again. Yeah.
Okay.
In most tellings, then Cain goes off into exile or is chased into exile by God. So whether it's willingly or he's like, get out of here. Do you think his punishment would have been different if he would have fessed up and not tried to lie?
I would like to say it would have been yes. I'm trying to answer this without going too deep into my thoughts and feelings about religion because they're very complicated. But God is oftentimes spoken of as a benevolent God and as a parent, like very much as a parent. So I would think maybe even if Cain had instantly been like, oh no, what have I done? And like
said something fessed up.
Like, help me. Like, I did this. I don't know what to do.
Couldn't God have just resurrected Abel?
Yeah.
Our new legal client, Cain, goes off into exile. So now what happens? Do you know of do you have any guesses on what happens after he is like yeeted out of wherever the heck Adam and Eve are right now?
I mean, based on your opening story, I have no idea where he would go. But based on your opening story, I'm assuming he found people somewhere. They didn't like him very much.
Those mysterious people.
He found the Moon-Eyed people, and he found the Sandhill Cranes.
Found the Fae.
He found the Fae.
He's actually part of the Unseelie Court.
Ooh.
Actually, you know what? That's not one of the theories, but it is now.
It is now, yeah. I like that theory, actually.
Got it.
Was he the father of the Fae?
You know what? He was the father of the Fae. After completing the first murder, allegedly, and being punished, Cain goes off into the wilderness. I assume anyways. That's what they always say. People go into the wilderness. And he wanders around for God knows how long, and eventually wanders into the land of Nod, which is east of Eden.
Nod.
I think it's Nod and not Node.
I like Nod.
At some point, he gets married and has children. Where did this woman come from? Put a pin in that.
Okay. That's what I was just about to ask and be like, with what human?
One of the Fae.
One of the other Fae.
Don't worry. There's potential answers to that. We'll get back to it.
Okay.
He then builds the city of Enoch, named after his son, but it's not. Some people might go, oh yeah, Enoch. That is the biblical figure that like does something awesome, walks with God, and then becomes the Metatron. Different Enoch. That Enoch is in the genealogy of Adam to Noah. And he's only like a couple, because I think it might be Enoch, Methuselah. Maybe there's one in between Noah. I don't quite remember. Different Enoch.
Okay.
This Enoch was one of the first humans, potentially, because it was Cain's son.
Okay.
And then there was a city named after him too, because if someone can name a moon mountain after their wife,
yes,
he can name a city after his son.
Absolutely. Name a moon mountain after your wife. That's adorable.
Honestly, the other famous Enoch could be a whole other episode that I'd like to do.
Yeah.
There's a whole, like the word Enochian.
Yeah.
Comes from that. At this point, you might be asking, Bree, according to the Bible, there's only 3 people now. So who is this wife and who are these other people that he's afraid of? Well, the other people we already decided were the Fae.
Yep.
However, there is a tradition. Are you ready for this? Trigger warning.
Oh, ooh.
There is a tradition that Cain and Abel had twin sisters. So like Cain had a twin and Abel had a twin.
Oh no.
Yep.
Oh no.
Where do you think this is going?
Oh no. I don't like that.
They ended up marrying their siblings because there were no other humans. So the wife, who was originally called Alwyn, is Cain's sister. What a fun story.
Alwyn. I do like that name though.
We have murder and incest right off the bat.
Is it bad that I instantly I feel like I want to name a D&D character Alwyn?
That's a good name.
It's a good name.
So I had a hard time following if like it was Cain's twin that he married or Abel's. It'd be slightly better if it was Abel's.
Yeah.
They're still siblings, but like I mean it wouldn't be better, but like it feels
less icky. Like you're still marrying your sister, but at least it's not your twin.
Yeah. The text doesn't really give us the whole information about that, and that's not in the text. That's like the rabbinic notes.
Okay.
So like the extra stuff when.
So it's not apocryphal. That's not the same thing.
It can be, yeah.
Oh. Okay.
The midrash is one. I think that's the word. Is discussion between rabbis, but like apocryphal is just extra. So like apocryphal books Tobit would be an apocryphal book. There's extra. There's an extra part of Daniel too.
Okay.
Apocryphal is things that like didn't make most of the Bible versions, but have made some of them.
Okay. I ask because I'm pretty sure my favorite painting is based off of an apocryphal story. I'd have to look that up. No, I don't know what book it's in, but it's the. Here we go. Everyone's going to think I'm a lunatic.
I know what you're talking about.
The painting is by Artemisia Gentileschi, who I do want to do an episode about her because she's incredible. But she was a 16th century artist, and her painting is called Judith Beheading Holofernes. And I won't go into how much that I love that painting because we'll be here for 30 years. But I'm pretty sure when I looked it up, it was an apocryphal book. It wasn't in like the main canon. But anyway,
back to the mark. Let's talk about this mark for a little bit and get back out of the weeds into slightly smaller weeds.
Yes.
So this mark and protection from harm, like what might this actually mean? A couple of different options here, because for most biblical scholarly things, no one actually knows. It's just it's best guesses, educated guesses from context.
Sure.
Does the mark mean that he is immortal but not invincible? Well, that kind of depends. Most scholarly interpretations tend to lead towards the mark being a warning to others but not granting him immortality. So it wouldn't necessarily prolong his life, though in that biblical time, people were living like hella long. Option 1, protection from harm does not make him immortal or immune to death. It just curses whoever kills him. According to the Book of Jubilee, which is a non-canonical book that is part of Jewish folklore traditions. I'm sorry if that's incorrect. That's my understanding of it. Tell us nicely if that's wrong.
Yes, please do.
He may have been killed in a natural disaster or some kind of similar misfortune. So killed when his house fell on top of him.
Oh,
which is kind of ironic if he allegedly killed Abel with a rock.
True.
He also might have died of some natural cause or some way the Bible just didn't think was important. They forgot about him. They were like, that was really boring. He just died of like disease. That's not exciting. Also, like the flood could have wiped him out if he was still alive and kicking.
I just had that thought when you said natural disaster. I was like, I wonder if the flood could have killed him.
We will talk more about the flood in a second. Don't you worry.
Okay. Can I say that? I don't want to interrupt something that is making me think it's not making him immortal, but it's going to make anyone afraid to touch him or get near him, which is just going to add to his torment. Because even if, someone touches him, they don't drop dead instantly. They're going to know him as a curse, and they're going to know him as something evil.
Yes, because it was a warning, not necessarily like, if you tap him on the shoulder, nothing bad would necessarily happen, but like.
But no one's going to take that.
I think it's like harm to the 7th generation or something like that.
Oh, gee. Okay. It's just crazy because like God said, oh, you're afraid of other people hurting you? I'll mark you with protection. But it's like, how much protection was that actually? Because it's like people aren't going to hurt you, but they're going to treat you. You're going to be completely ostracized. You're not going to be welcome anywhere.
Let's table this for the discussion at the end.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Put a pin in that. All right. So another potential how he came to his end was from another non-canonical book called the Book of Jacer. I think it's Jacer. And he was killed by Lamech, who was blind. So when Lamech was hunting with his son Tubal-Cain, which is an interesting name there.
Yeah.
His son saw something on the horizon and told his father to shoot.
Oh no.
That something was Cain.
He pulled an Alistair.
There's a lot of scary things on a pack here. Like, Why is the blind person shooting things?
Yes.
Also, like, was the son visually impaired?
Yeah.
It's like, hey, look, there's a thing moving. Totally not a person. Go shoot it. I imagine they were using bow and arrows.
Yeah.
Or a sling.
I was a sling or oh goodness.
Not using a gun.
Not a gun, a slingshot.
Yeah. Also, would they both get cursed, or would only one of them get cursed? Or is that
true?
Or is it a loophole because it wasn't?
They didn't do it on purpose.
I mean, we're alleging that Cain didn't do it on purpose either.
That's true.
But like, is it a loophole because technically, I think I'm saying these names right. Lamech didn't knowingly shoot him, and his son didn't do the shooting. So did they find a loophole?
Yeah.
Huh. Anyways, ready for option. So option 1 is he met his demise in some way, shape, or form.
Okay.
Option 2 is that he is still around today, but immortality does not equal being invulnerable. So this idea is that he could still be vulnerable to harm, but not die otherwise. Another idea is the mark could have protected him from the flood. It could have been like an Uno reverse.
Oh.
So there's a couple of ways this could be looked at. It wasn't just a quote unquote natural disaster. It was, the genocide that we put on kids' nurseries. Strong feelings about the flood. Hide all of the murder behind the rainbow and the animals on a boat. It's great.
Yeah.
I might get some hate for that statement.
I was asking that question as a child. It's if this tells you anything about who I was as a child, I was asking about like the animals that died. Like, why did all them have to die?
There's so many pictures of like people reaching out from the water drowning. Yeah. Anyways, God sends this flood, right? Well, God is saying that no one can harm him.
Yeah.
So like, did God plop him on a mountain or like put him on a little raft so he could
he floated
float on out?
Yeah.
I mean, would God be exempt from that? Maybe, but did he accidentally
like loophole himself?
Yeah.
It's like
crap. Oh, shoot.
Yeah.
So that's one idea. And if Cain is still around and kicking today, would that mean that like the scripture, at least in part, is actually true? So we're sitting here making fun of it a little bit. But if the story, like, okay, let's gonna drop the suspension of disbelief. If Cain would still be alive, that would mean Cain and Abel were real.
Yeah. And Adam and Eve, based off of that.
Does he look like Patrick Stump? Is Patrick Stump actually Abel?
Patrick Stump, right in.
Come on the show, actually. I'm going to say it this time.
Patrick Stump, come on the show.
We'll stop making... No, never mind. We're not going to stop making follow-by references.
We won't. No, it's on our bingo card. We can't.
It's on our bingo card. We can't.
We're contractually obligated with the bingo card.
Some people think that he was cursed. So more about Cain. Some people think that he was cursed to be an eternal homeless person or drifter due to the wording in the scripture that I think the way it was worded is that like he would not be able to kind of settle in one place because he couldn't grow crops.
Sure.
So he's just off meandering about forever.
And that's a hell of a curse because especially if you think about biblical times, if you couldn't grow your food, unless you managed to hunt or like steal from other people, you were going to starve to death.
Yeah. Or you found people that would take care of you.
Yeah.
But he had the mark.
He had the mark. Yeah.
Gotta cover that up. Another theory is that he became one of the elite. And if you take a moment to think about how long he's been around, then it would make sense that he would have gathered a lot of skills and goods.
Like one of the elite, when you say that, I just want to make sure I'm understanding. Like one of the elite, like...
Think Illuminati.
Okay.
But like he could be like CEO, or he could be one of those people that are high in power, but not in the spotlight.
Okay, sure.
This next one is going to be your favorite theory. When I got to this, I had to pause the video I was watching and be like, became Bigfoot and lives isolated from humanity in the caves in the wilderness.
I'm gonna count that one out. That's my best friend right there. I know
your best friend is Cain.
That's my bestie's no murderer.
I
didn't murder his brother.
I literally paused, allegedly. I literally paused the video and was like,
what?
I took a screenshot of it and sent it to Allie, and I was like, and she's like, I heard of that, and I'm like,
what? That's amazing.
He became Bigfoot.
I know.
Our Faye theory seems less
and less wild here.
There's apparently also a medieval legend. Oh, this ties into your episode.
Oh,
There's Apollo 13 is April, right?
Yes.
This is the weird tie-in that I think I mentioned in your episode.
Okay.
There's apparently a medieval legend where Cain somehow gets to the moon and is just chilling there for all eternity with a bundle of twigs.
A bundle of twigs? He just had some sticks.
This is why Apollo 13 couldn't get there. They found him.
Yeah, that's true. He was like, nope, he cursed that mission.
He threw rocks at the spaceship.
He did. He blew up the oxygen tank, the bastard.
Stay away from my home. Get off my lawn.
Get off my... Yeah, this is my swamp.
So how did this come about, you might ask? Well, apparently there was, as Wiki calls it, a popular fantasy that the shadows on the moon were actually Cain's face.
Oh.
This also shows up in Dante's Inferno, so it was like...
Huh.
But yeah, so
Is that like where the man in the moon comes from?
maybe
That's interesting.
it's Cain.
Huh. It's Cain.
So
That's dark.
we're gonna get into some kind of dark things here that are very racist in a second.
Oh boy.
But before we get to before we leave the fun section, like any thoughts on the theories or any?
I definitely don't think he became Bigfoot because Bigfoot's my homie and my homie is not out here. He's a gentle soul. I do think it's interesting. I'm going to try to put this into words where there's stories in the Bible of being called on to like love your neighbor regardless of, if they're homeless, if they don't look like you, if they look...
That's New Testament.
That's New Testament. That's true. But it's just kind of funny to tie that in with like, he is the kind of being portrayed as the ultimate homeless person.
Yeah, or the original.
The original homeless person. Mm-hmm. And if again, suspending disbelief, if that is true of, the scripture is true, I don't know, like, are people being kind to him? Like, did he eventually find forgiveness in humanity? Like, I don't know. I don't know how to word it correctly, but it's just a fun, not fun, but it's just a weird.
It's interesting.
Yeah. Weird thoughts.
And I chose this one because Easter's in April this year.
Oh, true.
So I chose a Bible story because...
Yeah, no, that makes absolute sense.
So I found a couple of interpretations about the mark itself and the story of Cain and Abel.
I'm finding all kinds of book references right now. This is completely coming up naturally. Cable is one of the main characters in a book series I like. Oh, cool. Anyway.
So there's the idea that to put a mark on something can make it stand out. This might have been a morality tale about why murder was wrong, and it represents the tensions between nomadic herders and farmers during the development of civilization. Symbols of fratricide and sibling rivalry might also be like an allegory of like, why do people do this?
Okay.
Because we like creation stories.
Sure.
Abel is also sometimes viewed as the first martyr, and Cain is the first murderer and the ancestor of all evil. And it's a yin-yang thing. You can't have good without evil.
Okay.
Remember earlier when I brought up that he might not have been the son of Adam?
Yes.
So according to Wiki, there's something called the serpent seed explanation for why Cain was capable of murder, and that is because he may have been the offspring of a fallen angel or Satan himself. So, according to one of my sources, he was descended from Samael, which is the fallen angel, I think related to Lucifer. Some of that gets a little murky of like Satan, which is just a title. It's not actually a demon.
Okay.
Versus Lucifer versus Samael.
Okay.
There's all kinds of stuff.
He is so spooky.
He is so spooky. Oh no, it's like, I'm so spooky. I think just the inflection there.
Yes. I am so spooky.
I love that song.
Yes.
Has-Been Hotel.
Has-Been Hotel. Blake Roman, come on the podcast.
I'll take Jeremy Jordan too.
Yes. You know what? The whole cast. Just
everyone.
Has-Been Hotel. Come on, Has-Been Hotel. Come on the podcast.
So, according to this account, Eve says, I have gotten a man through an angel of the Lord. So the assumption here is you didn't realize who it was. Like, oh, sure, that's not the one I wanted.
She's like, oh, man. Nor.
According to this, Eve fell to a second temptation from Satan, even though the first was just a serpent making trouble. So, like, it wasn't actually Satan.
Girl, you could have done better. Sorry.
According to the pit.edu source, Adam was off somewhere else during Eve's pregnancy with Cain. He was just off doing something else. So I'm going to read this verbatim.
Okay.
She permitted herself to be interrupted in her penance, which I assume was from that second temptation.
Okay.
She left her husband and journeyed westward because she feared her presence might continue to bring him misery. Adam remained in the east. When it was nearing the time of Cain's birth, she began to feel the pangs of traveling. So she asked God for help through prayer, and he left her on red. Oh, he's like, nope. Eve then cried out, "Who will carry the report to my lord Adam?" She asked herself, "Ye luminaries in the sky, I beg you, tell it to my master Adam when ye return to the east." I like that wording of ye luminaries in the sky.
Yes, that's beautiful.
I think she was talking to the stars.
Yeah. Like, my first thought was, like, make him a constellation.
Oh. Huh. Somehow Adam knew shit was going down and cried out, "Lamentation of Eve has pierced my ear. Mayhap, sorry. Mayhap the serpent has again assaulted her," and he hastened to his wife. Is he implying that, like, this was like an SA situation?
Oh. Huh.
There's a lot to unpack here. Adam found her and asked God for help, and then he in turn sent 12 angels and 2 heavenly powers. It's a higher rank of angel.
Okay.
Type critter. Then Michael shows up.
Oh, damn.
Standing on her right side, he passes his hand over her from her face downward to her breast and says to her, "Be thou blessed, Eve, for the sake of Adam, because of his solicitations and his prayers, I was sent to grant thee our assistance. Make ready to give birth to thy child."
Oh.
Bam, kiddo is born and is a radiant figure. So via the source, and I quote, "A little while, and the babe stood upon his feet, ran off, and returned holding in his hand a stalk of straw, which he gave to his mother. For this reason, he was named Cain, the Hebrew word for stalk of straw."
So
there's a lot to unpack there too.
That child just got up like a pony. Like, when horses give birth, their foals are up within, what is it, like an hour? They're literally up and running. That little baby child was just like, all right, hold up, and just took off.
So, like, another comparative religion thing here, the Buddha did the same thing. He got up and talked and was like, yeah, I'm like,
I've never thought of Buddha as a baby. It's just something that's never occurred to me.
Also, the whole like radiance thing makes sense because Lucifer was the light bearer.
Ah, okay. That's.
I have his part from Vox Populi in my head.
Can I comment on the essay thing?
Yes.
Because I don't want to take up too much time with that, but that makes a lot of sense.
Yes,
because
good.
Absolutely, the woman would have been blamed.
Yes, 100%.
Absolutely, in that time, a woman would have been blamed.
So this version also goes on a little bit more about the first murder and says that the reason the reason Cain allegedly killed Abel was not only that God favored Abel, but he was jealous because he wanted Abel's wife for himself.
Oh, wait, so Abel was married at this time?
Oh yeah, they each married their own twin.
Oh.
Or they married a twin. I'm not sure which one.
Okay.
So
okay, cool.
It was like, here, you're born with a little marriage partner, which is, we're just going to gloss over that.
Okay.
Do you want to hear about some interesting facts? And some of these also go very into the weeds. This whole episode goes into the weeds because it is all folklore from like 3 verses in a Bible story.
Yeah.
Okie dokie. So interpretations regarding the initial curse vary. In some, he is also thought to be soulless or have a physical or mental affliction.
Okay.
Another thing is that it's generally not seen as a protection. It's more of a way to extend his suffering.
Hey.
Yeah, we'll get into that a little bit more. Via Wikipedia, some Jewish rabbi had the following thoughts or ideas about Cain. This one I have no freaking idea. There's some context I'm missing here.
Okay.
It's the idea that God gave a dog making an example for murderers. There has to be some ancient context about dogs that I don't know.
Yeah.
That he grew a horn out of his head. That was the mark.
Okay.
God's own name was engraved into his forehead. That was the mark.
Ooh.
The mark was the letter of the Hebrew Torah.
Is there something that is tickling my brain that you can't know the name of?
Correct.
Okay. So literally people couldn't look at him because of if that was carved on his forehead. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So our next interesting fact is going to go into some weird ass American history. Aren't you excited? Do you know where this is going, right? Trigger warning for racism.
Great.
Where was I? Great.
Sorry.
All right. So we're gonna talk about some Mormon folklore here. Allegedly, David W. Patton, an early leader, came across, and I'm quoting from Wiki here, a very tall, hairy, dark-skinned man man in Tennessee, and this man said he was Cain.
Okay.
This account states that Cain had earnestly sought death, so take that as you will, but was denied it, and now his mission is to destroy the souls of men.
To clarify, so that pastor is saying that you said it was a pastor?
Leader.
A leader was saying he came across this man that allegedly was begging for death, but because he didn't receive death, he was out to destroy people.
Yep.
Okay.
In Tennessee.
In Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I've been to Tennessee. Have you been to Tennessee?
Oh, yeah. I like Tennessee a lot, actually.
He's probably hanging out in Nashville.
Yeah.
Are you ready to talk some more about slavery and enslaved people in the American South?
Oh, boy, sure am. Is anyone really ready for that?
So at some point in American history, there grew a belief that the Mark of Cain was a dark skin tone.
Ugh.
So this is tying back into the story from Mormonism.
Oh, my God.
And this was used to justify enslaving African people and bringing them over to the Americas. And it was also later used to justify segregation.
Somehow that was worse than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, there's more. So there's something besides the Mark of Cain, there's something called the curse of Ham. It has nothing to do with the food.
Okay.
Have you heard of this?
I have not.
Sometimes it's confused or conflated with the Mark of Cain.
Okay.
All right, ready for this? Is just going to be Bree tells Bible stories in a TLDR fashion. That's what this episode is.
I love it.
All right. Do you know who Ham was?
I feel like I've heard the name. I don't know. I can't say
We
I know
talked
who
about his father earlier.
We talked about his father earlier?
The genocide that goes into nurseries.
Oh, so he's Noah's son.
Yes.
Okay.
You might know him from the flood narrative.
Okay.
So Ham discovers Noah drunk and unclothed in his tent.
Oh.
But instead of doing what was considered the honorable thing, according to the Bible, and covering him, he ran and told his brothers about it. Then Ham's son was cursed.
Oh.
Known as the handsome Canaan. And he was to become the servant of servant. Guess where this goes? It ties us back into slavery. There is the idea that Ham married a descendant of Cain. And of course, people at this point, everyone would have been dark-skinned.
Sure.
But people were tying the darker skin tones into the Mark of Cain at this point when they were doing these kinds of allegories.
Great.
So if Ham married a descendant of Cain, their child would have been darker skin tone, but they would have been anyway, because guess what? We are in Asia Minor for the story.
Yeah.
Which is where most of the Bible happens.
Mm-hmm.
And because of this curse, Ham's son was forced to be a servant.
Cute.
And people in the past used it to justify enslavement of people of darker skin tones. There's also this whole thing about the land of Canaan, which is, don't quote me verbatim, but I think that's probably somehow tied into this character's name. The land of Canaan later becomes owned by the Israelites. It was their land originally, and it was promised to them when they fled Egypt with Moses.
Okay.
The land where the milk and honey flows.
Yes.
So there is this whole thing about the Canaanites, they kind of kicked out. And they were kind of not super friendly with the Israelites because of this, if I'm remembering my my religious history correctly.
The Canaanites got kicked out of their land is that right?
Because the Israelites were promised it by God, but it was the Israelites' land too. I would have to go back and read what happened after the Exodus and before it to know that for sure. But I think there was this whole thing about, as there often was in the biblical stories. So when the Israelites left Egypt, the whole idea of the Jericho, like they were literally taking cities. I mean, they wandered around for 40 years too, but like they were conquering a bunch of different nations.
Yeah.
Because they felt that was promised land to them by God. We mentioned this earlier, but the story of Cain and Abel kind of parallels Adam and Eve. Yeah. The Quran, the Quran is the text that they use for Muslims.
Yes.
The Quran, it is thought that Cain wasn't the devil's child, wasn't Lucifer's child, but he was guided by him.
Okay.
There's also a tie-in to an older Mesopotamian Sumerian legend called Enlil. Yep. Enlil chooses the farmer god. Oh. I did not dig very deep into this, but it seems to be a mix of why do we have the seasons, aka Hades and Persephone, and the story of Cain and Abel. I'm not going to go into that, but that's
okay.
a whole nother thing. If you look at comparative religions and if you look at ancient Near Eastern, Middle Eastern history, you will find that a lot of it is copy and paste.
Okay.
Especially from Sumerian and Babylonian, ancient Sumerian and Babylonian texts. Like the Epic of Gilgamesh is one where you will see a lot of parallels to like the flood story.
Okay.
It's really, really interesting.
Did we ever do our episode about Epic of Gilgamesh? Yeah.
No, we didn't.
No, we didn't. Okay.
I just talked about the flood in detail the one time.
Okay.
The Epic of Gilgamesh could be I wouldn't mind talking about that because I love talking about these kinds of things.
Yeah.
All right, pop culture.
Pop culture.
We haven't done one of these in a while.
Yeah.
Beowulf. Did you have to read that?
I did not.
We had to read it in my AP English class.
Okay.
That is how I learned that icicle is not spelled the way I think it is. I looked at the word and I was like icicle. And I'm like, oh, and like, do you ever have to do the thing where you'd have to read a line and then you counted the people in front of you?
Yes.
But now we free read all the time on here.
Yeah. This is different than that.
There's only one person to count.
Yes, correct.
Beowulf was written, or, this legend was created around 1000 CE. Ish.
Mm-hmm.
The monster Grendel and his mother are supposedly descendants of Cain.
Okay.
So Beowulf is like an epic poem about a hero in I guess it would technically be like Norse mythology. Shakespeare's Hamlet.
Oh.
King Claudius and King Hamlet are parallels to Cain and Abel.
Okay.
Lord Byron has a whole play entitled Cain that he created in 1821. Have you heard of the book East of Eden?
Yeah.
It pulls parallels from Cain and Abel, and that's John Steinbeck.
Okay.
Sandman comics. We have mixed feelings on those now because of the creator, but I do own most of those, and I have read most of those.
Yeah.
And Cain and Abel are major characters in those comics.
Yep.
They live in the dreaming, which is where Morpheus, the main character,
Dream himself.
There's a lot of songs that talk about Cain and Abel. There's several movies. There were a lot of them. Supernatural.
Because everything happens in Supernatural.
There is a whole arc of Dean having the Mark of Cain.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah, it's one of the later seasons.
I need to pick up that again. I was watching it on Netflix. I think it went off Netflix, but now I want to say it's on Prime. Yeah.
Okay, because I want to rewatch it because I was writing this and I was like, I want to watch Supernatural.
Yeah.
I watched all of it.
I forget where I left off. I feel like I was in the second season.
Didn't get to Castiel yet.
No.
But yeah, there's a whole Mark of Cain arc.
Cool.
The show Lucifer. Did you ever watch that?
I tried and I couldn't get through the first episode.
It gets better after that.
Oh, it does?
And then the finale I didn't like.
Oh, okay.
It got better after that. I actually like that show a lot.
Okay.
Cain shows up in that show as a lot of biblical characters do.
Sure.
Because the main character is Lucifer.
Lucifer.
Yeah. Honorable mention. No Cain, but we got an Abel in Has-Been Hotel. Like we mentioned, our boy Patrick Stump from Fall Out Boy.
Patrick Stump come on the podcast. Blake Roman come on the podcast. Amir Talai come on the podcast.
Jeremy Jordan
come on the podcast.
We like the rest of Fall Out Boy too. You're just not in Has-Been Hotel.
True.
All right. So closing thoughts. I think we have a lot of different thoughts we want to talk about, but before I give mine, I'm going to let you talk for a little bit because I talked for the past hour.
Yeah. Oh man, where do I even start? Because we talked a little bit about it being the mark of protection being just as much of a curse as it is a protection. Let me think.
So also, can I dive in with that?
Yeah.
If you look at a lot of ancient mythology, immortality and elongated life is almost never given as a reward. It is almost always given as a punishment.
Yeah.
In Greek mythology, there's several people that were granted immortality and it was usually a punishment.
Mm-hmm. If you think about it, how do you ever get close to someone? They live for maybe 100 years if you're lucky, and then they're gone.
If you're really lucky.
If you're really, really lucky.
Yeah. So generally speaking, immortality is a punishment. Also, the fact that people used this to defend enslaving other people.
Oh, God, that's disgusting.
I wasn't expecting it to go there. When I started researching it, I'm like,
I'm like, anything that is related to slavery and treating people poorly in general is bad. I stand by that statement. When you read into that, I was like, that was somehow worse than I was expecting. Like,
yeah, and like I like there was a lot of information. Like I gave a very TLDR version of it.
sure.
Also, I think some of the theories are so like kind of moving away from that to happier places.
Sure.
Some of the theories of like Bigfoot. We added that he is the founder of the Unseelie Court.
He's the original king of the Fae.
Yes. So we have added to the mythology, and then he was throwing rocks at Apollo 13.
Apparently. Or twigs, maybe?
Twigs.
Did he sharpen them into spears and like... whoosh?
So yeah, this was a wild ride, and I hope you guys like it because it's a little bit into the weeds, but...
That was really, really interesting, though. You did a good job with it. What drew you to this topic?
I love religion and folklore. My undergrad, I had the wildest path to get to my current job. I really did. One of my undergrad degrees was religious studies, and anthropologic and ethics focus on that. So by anthropology, I mean like understanding where beliefs came from, how they shaped cultures, how culture shaped beliefs, like why do people believe the things they do? Where does this all come from? And the human brain is fascinating. And how does that affect society? And I like, every once in a while, I like going into some of these. And I think this is a Bible story that fits because there is so much folklore around it. Because it's like, okay, this person, if they existed and if they're still alive,
what does that mean today?
That can go a lot of places.
Yeah.
It's captured the imagination of people for thousands and thousands of years.
Yes, absolutely. Was there anything you wish you could have researched more into?
That Mesopotamian older legend.
Okay.
That was kind of like a hybrid of like, this is why we have seasons and the first murder. And also going further, and I've looked into Enoch a little bit before, not Cain's son, but like
the other Enoch,
the one that chilled out with God for the rest of eternity.
Yeah.
Those are the main things that kind of stuck with me.
What did you find the most strange about this topic?
There's a lot of things that were like gross strange.
Yes.
Being on the moon.
Yeah, that's fair.
We're going to go with a lighthearted one. Being on the moon.
Being on the moon. Yeah. I guess, does that wrap us up for our conversation about Cain and the Mark of Cain?
It does. And the king of the Fae.
The king of the Fae.
We'd love to hear from you. If you have a suggestion for a strange or mysterious topic, a comment about an episode, or just want to chat, please reach out.
You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Audible, and YouTube. Comment directly on episodes on Spotify and YouTube, or leave a review of the podcast as a whole on either Spotify or Apple Podcasts.
Find us on Instagram at something_strangepod, on Facebook at Something Strange Podcast, and subscribe to our YouTube channel at something_strangepod.
You can also send us a Gmail at somethingstrangepod24@gmail.com, and the 24 is numeric.
Well, strangers, it's time for us to part ways.
Until we meet again, watch out for biblical characters on the moon.
That is the theme of this month.
It is.
All right, we'll be back again soon with another
Something Strange.
It's all about the moon.
It's all about the moon.
I love how we did that.
Yeah, that was not...
Because I didn't know your episode and you didn't know mine.
No, that was a complete accident. The brain cell got passed again.
Stop talking about the moon.